Look at that. Well, whatever was going on here was a long-term settlement for somebody, I think. I'm just outside of Nederland, Colorado, taking advantage of some days off from work. And this campsite has a few surprises for me. The thing about dispersed camping is you never really know what you're gonna run into. It's important you do your research before you head out, as far as location and how many spots and whether or not the roads are closed. But what I mean by you don't really know what you're gonna run into is you don't know if there'll be any spots open, and you don't know what the spots are gonna look like when you get to one that is open. In this case, it's a beautiful big spot, but everywhere you look, you can see trash from previous people. And when you're out here in the federal land, Forest Service areas, and really anywhere, if you're gonna stay, it's important to leave no trace. Whatever you bring in, you need to bring out. A lot of people even argue that you should pack out your toilet paper, and it's probably a good idea because some people generally think that if you leave toilet paper in your hole, your bathroom hole, that it'll just decompose, but it really doesn't decompose as quickly as you might think. So after I get some of my things off the roof, I'm gonna go around and clean up the spot so I have a clean spot to stay in, because I don't like looking at other people's trash, and I brought a trash bag, so might as well use it. My guess would be the person that was here last stayed for quite a while and used this as their personal dump, because this here is full of trash and this hole over here is full of trash. Definitely the most littered campsite I've been at. And that's something that you might expect when dispersed camping, because the fact of the matter is, not everyone appreciates nature, and not everyone who comes out here is coming out here just for recreation. Some people come out here to live. They end up using the land around them as their landfill. So I cleaned up a little bit around the spot. I don't want to go too far because I'll end up filling up my trash bag before I even use any of my trash. But now after you kind of do a little walk around of your spot, it's also good to kind of scout out what's around. In my case, there's a couple of hand-built landfills, but you also want to look at what animals might be around, and there's obviously some elk, and that could be somebody's dog that was here. I saw there were a couple tennis balls that were left. Could also be coyote, but that was a little big for coyote. Oh, there's another landfill right here. Look at that. I don't even know what that is. Well, whatever was going on here was a long-term settlement for somebody, I think. Which is weird because it's a designated site. You'd think they would choose a unmarked site and kind of go further back in the woods, but either way, the view is amazing. Can't beat it.
Finding those holes full of trash did give me a little bit of an uneasy feeling, but I decided to set up camp anyway and enjoy the rest of my time.
So now that I got camp all set up, usually it's time to relax, but there might be some weather moving in. I noticed a change in what the weather was doing. Some cool breezes, which usually tells you it's gonna rain. And not to mention just looking up at the sky. There's some big clouds. I heard some rolling thunder. And there in the distance, it looks a little hazy, rainy up in the mountains. So I think I'm gonna get a little bit of rain. Shouldn't be an issue. That happens a lot here in Colorado. Short rains, and hopefully it'll be pretty light and it'll let up in an hour or so I can make some dinner. But might as well have a beer or two, and if anything I can hunker down in the tent and play some Nintendo Switch, which I just traded my GoPro for. So another thing that's good to do if you're gonna build a fire is kind of resetting the rock structure if it looks like it needs some work. This one was a little low in a couple spots, so I added a few rocks. And then also digging out the area where your fire will go and putting the old fire kind of on the side. Digging a good hole just to make sure that there's no chance of any embers getting out, and the last thing you want is a wildfire to be your fault. There's a few camping accessories that I'm doing a shakedown run on this trip. When I was on the trail crew 2 years ago, we had our kitchen situation down to a system. So I kind of used what I learned in that experience, and so I got my buckets. There's 2 buckets there for washing dishes, one washing, one rinsing, and then pouring it all in here. And then the strainer is to strain out the food bits, which then go in the trash. So, and then you can dry your dishes in the drying rack. Whatever it takes to make camping as painless as possible, that's my goal. Try to enjoy it as much as possible and try to make it as painless as possible. And in the past, the kitchen situation was always a pain spot for me. Either I would forget my table, or we didn't have the washing and drying system down. So now I think I have it down. And also another little camping gadget, which I'm gonna do a separate video on, I think, review, and I'm excited to put that one to use as well. So the clouds are coming over and might get some rain, but it should be a short rain and then I can get dinner going. Well, the rain holds out. I guess I'll get some stuff done. It's always a good idea to have some activities planned when you're camping alone, because otherwise you'll get bored pretty quickly. And one of the things I thought would be a good idea would be to write down a list of everything I need to remember when packing for camping, because I'm a little scatterbrained and I often forget at least one thing. This time I did pretty good. I had to turn around to get my coffee, and other than that, I did pretty good. There was one more thing that I forgot, but can't think of it right now. So I'm gonna write a list of the things I need to remember. The table is one of them. One time I forgot my propane tanks. That's one of them. I forgot my coffee stuff. And trash bags are always something that we forget. A really good way to make camping, especially dispersed camping, as painless as possible is by prepping individual bins for different things. So like in my case, I have a bin for me which has the tent, my sleeping bag, my sleeping pad, my travel pillow, everything that I would take camping is in one bin. I have another bin that's Taylor's stuff, so it's all of her stuff that she would need to go camping. And then we have a third bin that's the kitchen stuff. So everything kitchen. That includes pots, pans, maybe an extra thing of propane, sponges. So basically if I wanted to go camping like this time, I could grab my bin and the kitchen bin, and I know that I have everything that I need as far as shelter and sleeping bag. And same thing with her, if she needs to go camping, she can grab her bin and it's everything that she needs, her tent, her sleeping bag, all that stuff. It just makes it that much easier, and then you don't really have to think about that kind of stuff. It's also good for storage because you just get back and you throw it in storage. I also recently made a bug out bag or a survival bag. I think I'll do a separate video on everything that's in it, but basically food, water, shelter. Those are the three necessities that you need to bring, and that's basically the bare minimum. And you don't necessarily need to have water and food in here, but in mine, you should have a life straw for water, so that way any source of water you can drink. You should have a way to get food, so in this case I have fishing line and a hook. For mine, I don't have like a micro tent, but I do have some extra head coverings because sun protection is important if you're in a survival situation. This bandana, it's called a survival bandana. Basically it's a bandana that's printed with survival tips and tricks, and they charge $5 for it. And it's also high vis, so got that on there. A way to cook food, so matches. So this will be with me every time I go camping, and that way if I really need to, turn my survival mode on, I'll have my tent because I'm camping, so that's shelter. But also if I'm ever going, it would honestly just be a good thing to keep in your car, but if I'm ever going backpacking, this would probably be a good thing, or at least putting most of the stuff that's in here, the important stuff, into my backpacking bag. First aid kit, that's very important, that's in there. And I would say before going to the store and buying all this stuff, first look around your house, because you probably have most of the stuff that you need in a survival situation. And whatever stuff you don't have that you actually need, then you can go to the store and get it. But it's something fun to do if you're bored, and that's also something that just increases your preparedness for whatever might happen. I think the rain is gonna skip me, at least for now. Skies still look a little dark gray, but some thunder in the distance. Definitely rain over there. We'll see if that comes this way. But I went ahead and cut up some firewood, which I bought and brought in, but I didn't bring a lighter or anything. So I'm gonna try to start my own fire with the bow method. So I have some paracord and some firewood. So with my experience watching Survivor Man, I need jeez. I'll use this as my platform. I'll dig out a little notch. I think that might be coming my way. But then get some real fibrous stuff, which if it rains that'll be hard, but then I can get another stick, spin it fast enough so it starts to smoke, and transfer that ember onto some other dry stuff. Maybe a little notch. Probably keep some of this material in there. Yeah, that thunder's getting louder. I think that's gonna come towards us, but behind it is blue clouds, or blue skies, so should probably get things tucked away and get in the tent before I get wet. Well, it's been like 15 minutes and it looks like it's just staying there. So unless it actually starts sprinkling, I'm just gonna try to do this. I've got my paracord on this stick. I've got this stick. This will be the point that creates the smoke, the ember. This will be the point against the rock. I'm just gonna do it like that. And see what happens. I've never done this before, so just put it in there in the rock. I need a rock with a little hole in it to sit this nicely. The rain has arrived. Should be short. I can see it getting lighter out already, so through this little peephole I think there's blue skies. And I just remembered that I actually do have flint and steel, so I'm gonna try this method, and if I just don't want to do it anymore, I'll do a flint and steel. That should be more sure way of getting a fire started. Maybe I'll roast the hot dogs over the fire. Opening the rain flap, it's like a whole new day. The rain just stopped. It's sunny again. Well, let's make a fire. Alright, I'm not doing the bow method. I got my flint and steel. A tip I learned about the flint and steel is to keep the flint, to keep the steel in place and just move the flint like you're starting a lawnmower. You just pull the flint and that should work better. Also, if they're tied together, it's probably easier to untie it so you get more striking distance. And then make sure, of course, you have your wood nearby so that when you do get a light, you can keep it going. There we go. Might just burn my hair off. It's time for dinner for that. Hot dogs, and I think I want to cook it over the fire. So I'm gonna just use the grate and the Coleman stove. Maybe put some sticks over there so that the grate can sit on top. Cook my hot dogs that way. I think it'll be better than just putting it on a stick. Let's give it a whirl. Well, I've lost one down there. I've lost one and then recovered it. That one. That one's still good. These are a little bit too far apart for hot dogs, but so far it's working. They're about done. It's after dinner. I got the fire going. Turned out to be a beautiful evening. It rained for a little bit, dark clouds, and chilled inside the tent for a bit. But then after it passed, blue skies. I feel like I'm in a simulation, how blue the skies are. There's no clouds in sight. You get the sun, you got the mountains. You can't beat it. Dispersed camping is different than camping in a campground. You do have more things to worry about. You're more in the middle of nowhere. You don't have many people around you, which can be a good thing, but sometimes in these camping situations, the people around are more dangerous than the animals. So that's something to keep in mind. I like to listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm camping. Being out here with nobody else and listening to podcasts kind of really helps me focus. You don't have to do the completely in the middle of nowhere, no technology, just sitting in front of a fire, silence. You can do it however you want. I brought the Nintendo Switch, and I'll probably be doing that in the tent before I go to bed. But anyway, I'm rambling, just wanted to talk about that a little bit. And this is the evening. Battery's about to die on the camera, but it should be a relaxing night. See you in the morning. Without looking at the clock, I think it's between 7 and 8 in the morning. Didn't sleep terribly. Slept through the night, but it was a hard time falling asleep in the first place. That 1/2-inch thick foam pad is not the most comfortable thing. Ideally, I would get a cot, but I think my tent's too small for a cot. The more I was looking around yesterday and this morning, I mean, whoever was here before really just did not care at all, and kind of just destroyed a lot of this area. I mean, every tree around here has marks like someone was taking an axe to it or a hatchet. I mean, every tree was taken down by a hatchet. I mean,
Those over there, obviously, hatchet or axe. This tree here was just, I mean, they just like went to town on this one for some reason. And not to mention the holes full of trash everywhere around the spot. There's just trash everywhere, a lot of napkins, a lot of wet wipes just scattered around. There's a pair of shorts or underwear somewhere over there. I mean, when you come to spots like this, you're not the only person who's ever going to use it. It's supposed to be for everyone. You're supposed to leave it the way you found it so that other people can come and enjoy the way it was before you were there. It's not really cool looking around at every tree around your campsite and just seeing giant scars and hatchet marks. Every single tree. I mean, it doesn't make sense. When you camp like this, I guess generally it's okay to pick up dead sticks to use as firewood, but you're really supposed to bring in your own wood. You're definitely not supposed to cut trees down around your campsite to use for firewood. But anyway, it's time for breakfast. Now that is a camp breakfast. Cinnamon raisin bagel, cream cheese, bacon, sandwich. Delicious. Can't forget the coffee this time. I came prepared this time and it's definitely paying off. Having coffee, I have more than enough food. Makes it much, much nicer. I've gathered dandelions and I'm gonna make a tea. If you didn't know, dandelions are edible, highly nutritious, very nutrient dense because they're a weed, so they take up all the nutrients possible around them, and they're edible and you can find them anywhere. So I've already rinsed them, strained them. I'm gonna boil some water and steep it for about 5 minutes. It has medicinal qualities. It's supposed to be really good for your digestive health, and it has a bunch of other benefits as well. I've never done it before, but I wanted to try it, so I got my crop and let's see how it goes. Okay, it's done. I've taken the dandelions out, threw it in the trash. See that nice yellow color? Might be what you expect from a dandelion tea. I'm gonna give it one more strain. So I didn't want that stuff in there. Oh, first taste. Smells like dirt. Interesting. Tastes a little bit like dirt. Kind of expected. It's interesting. It's almost like a bitter seed flavor. Definitely not great. I didn't expect it. Not awful either. It's got some health benefits, and if you're in a survival situation, you can just eat the dandelions and make a tea with the stems. Looks like there's some storm clouds over there. See, it's a little darker over there. You can see some rain in that area, but it's not moving. I don't think it'll hit me. You can hear some thunder. There's a bit of a dark cloud there, so we'll see. But it's about time to make lunch. And for lunch, of course, noodles. Mi goreng, to be exact. If you haven't had mi goreng and you just eat the Maruchan noodles, you are missing out. This is the best noodle on the market. Highly recommend.
Understanding of people who are achieving at levels of excellence still put their pants on in the same way. Like, I opened for Tony Robbins last year, and all these other like really cool experiences. I have to think to myself, like, how the heck did I end up here? And then you say,
part of the reason why mi goreng is the best, first of all, the noodles themselves are better. They're a little thicker, a little firmer, and second of all is the sauce that it comes with and the seasoning. It comes with dried nuts, comes with sauce, comes with seasoning, dry seasoning, wet seasoning, and it's spicy and it's delicious. Get some mi goreng. Time for lunch. Another pretty good day at camp. Last night here. And I'll be leaving in the morning after breakfast. This day was kind of weird. I didn't record too much, but it was like clouds would come in, it would get windy, a little bit of rain, and then half an hour later it would clear back up. It happened like 3 different times. So put my fire out early because it got really windy, and it's about 8 o'clock now, 8:15. I'll probably just crawl into the tent and call it a night. Alright, I'm packed up, everything's ready to go. Last thing I have to do is start up and head out. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.